Dallas-Fort Worth was booming until housing prices exploded. Now, with rents up over 30% since 2020, you'll find families with steady jobs living in RVs behind supermarkets and in empty lots, blurring the line between adventure and desperation. Dallas-Fort Worth is collapsing, but most of America still doesn't see it. So how did this happen, and how bad could it get? Median rent in the Dallas-Fort Worth area has climbed more than 30% since 2020. A surge that far outpaces both wage growth and general inflation. For many North Texans, the math no longer works. A full-time job at the local median wage no longer covers the average rent for a modest apartment, let alone essentials like food and gas. The result? Thousands are being pushed out of traditional housing, and the official numbers only scratch the surface. In January 2024, Dallas and Collin counties counted 3,718 people experiencing homelessness, with about 26%, more than 600 individuals, living completely unsheltered, without even a tent or shelter bed. But these counts, conducted in a single night by volunteers and service agencies, missed the growing number of people living in RVs, vans, and cars. Many of these residents hold steady jobs or live on fixed incomes. They move from parking lots to quiet side streets, avoiding detection to keep what little stability they have left. This hidden homeless population is nearly invisible in official statistics. Point-in-time counts rely on volunteers spotting people in obvious distress, while RV dwellers often blend in by day and disappear at night. The gap between those counted and those actually displaced is wide and growing. As rents rise and shelter space remains limited, more families are forced into improvised housing on wheels, turning what was once a symbol of freedom into a last resort for survival. The scale of the crisis is not just measured by tents under bridges, but by the quiet rows of RVs behind grocery stores and the families inside, doing their best to stay out of sight. A folded eviction notice sits on the counter, dated just 3 months ago. For a middle-aged couple in Arlington, that paper marked the end of their apartment life. Rent had climbed from $1,350 to nearly $1,800 in less than 2 years, while their combined paychecks from retail and warehouse work barely kept up. When the renewal came with another hike, the numbers stopped working. Their last pay stubs and a final warning from the property manager told the same story: too much owed, not enough coming in. They spent nights searching for options, calling friends, checking motels, even considering a shelter. The waiting lists stretched for months. With savings nearly gone, they found a used RV listed by a cousin for $6,000. The bill of sale is still tucked in the glove box. What started as a stopgap, just until they could get back on their feet, has become their whole world. Inside, the RV is cramped but organized. The bed doubles as a couch. A small fridge hums next to a pile of grocery receipts and utility bills. Every morning begins with a careful check of the gas gauge and a scan for parking signs. They shower at a nearby gym, heat meals on a camp stove, and keep their phones charged at fast food outlets. Even with full-time jobs, every decision now revolves around keeping the RV running and avoiding notice. The line between adventure and survival had faded. For this couple, the RV is no longer a ticket to freedom. It's the last place they can call home. Gas prices across North Texas have climbed nearly 20% in the past 2 years, with a gallon now averaging over $3.60 in many parts of Dallas and Fort Worth. Grocery bills have followed the same pattern, rising faster than most paychecks. For people living in RVs, every extra dollar spent at the pump or checkout lane means less flexibility to move or adapt. The dream of roaming from place to place, once celebrated by van life influencers, has faded for most. Instead, many RV dwellers find themselves stuck in place, engines cold, as the cost of mobility outpaces their means. In Fort Worth, clusters of RVs have settled into empty lots near industrial parks and along the edges of service roads. Residents describe pooling cash for fuel, splitting bulk groceries, and sharing power from battered generators. Some have banded together to create makeshift kitchens or arrange group runs to food pantries. These stationary communities take shape out of necessity, not choice. The line between lifestyle and survival has blurred as more people find themselves anchored by costs they can't control. The shift is visible in the rhythms of daily life. Fewer RVs come and go, more stay parked for weeks, even months, as owners ration gas and wait for the next paycheck. What once looked like freedom now feels like being marooned. For many, the only way forward is to stay put and get by together. On a muggy Saturday in Denton County, the battered white van pulls into the gravel lot behind a row of parked RVs. Volunteers from Roadside Refuge unload toolboxes, extension cords, and a battered water tank. Their work starts early, patching roof leaks, rewiring tail lights, and coaxing old water heaters back to life. One family waits anxiously as a volunteer crawls beneath their rig, tracing a stubborn propane leak that's kept them eating cold food for days. For many parked here, a working stove or a hot shower is the difference between dignity and defeat. Roadside Refuge began as a small faith-based ministry, but word spread quickly among RV dwellers. Last year, they repaired over 120 rigs, provided water hookups to dozens of families, and helped connect residents with job leads at nearby warehouses and fast food chains. Their shower trailer, hooked up once a week, draws a steady line of parents and children, some on their way to work, others just grateful for clean water. Volunteers know their help only goes so far. A patched roof can't fix a broken housing market. A new alternator doesn't guarantee tomorrow's parking spot. Still, the ministry keeps showing up. One volunteer, a retired mechanic, says he comes for the stories as much as the work. Single moms juggling shifts, seniors living on Social Security, kids doing homework by flashlight. The sense of community is real, but so is the anxiety. Every repair is a small victory, but the bigger fight, finding a way out, remains unfinished. Dallas, Fort Worth, and the surrounding cities enforce a complex web of ordinances that make long-term RV living nearly impossible outside licensed parks. In Dallas, zoning codes prohibit large vehicles from being used as dwellings in most residential areas, and nuisance ordinances authorize removal if a vehicle is deemed inoperative or unsafe. Fort Worth limits RV parking to 72 hours for loading or maintenance, with strict requirements for fencing and setbacks. Arlington's rules are tighter still, barring overnight stays in driveways or yards and empowering code enforcement to issue citations that can escalate to towing. Denton and Tarrant County follow similar patterns. Temporary parking is sometimes allowed, but full-time occupancy is a violation. Enforcement is not just a matter of policy, but of resources. Texas cities collectively spend more than $20 million a year on homeless response operations, a figure that includes towing contracts, code sweeps, and administrative costs. City council minutes and budget documents show that much of this money goes to moving people and vehicles from one location to another, rather than providing permanent solutions. Officials defend these expenditures as necessary to maintain public order and respond to neighborhood complaints, but the result is a revolving door. RVs are tagged, towed, and impounded, only to be replaced by others days or weeks later. The system is designed to keep public spaces clear, not to keep families housed. For those living on the edge, a parking ban is more than an inconvenience. It's a daily threat to the only shelter they have. A bright orange notice flaps under the wiper of the Arlington couple's RV, the words 48-hour tow warning impossible to miss. The official language cites City Code Section 14-452 and Texas Transportation Code 683.002. spelling out their options in stark terms: move the vehicle or lose it. The countdown starts the moment the notice is posted. If the RV isn't gone in exactly 2 days, a city-licensed tow truck arrives. No exceptions. The fee for removal alone averages $650, with storage piling on at $60 a day. For this couple, even a single day's impound charges would wipe out more than half a month's take-home pay. Every possession, clothes, documents, keepsakes, hangs in the balance. A bystander shakes her head, saying she's seen 3 RVs towed from this lot in the past month, each time leaving behind a handful of belongings and a family with nowhere to go. The threat is immediate, the margin for error gone. In 2024, the Dallas-Fort Worth region recorded over 3,700 people experiencing homelessness, with more than a quarter living without shelter, often in RVs parked on city edges. This documentary has shown how a 30% surge in median rent since 2020, combined with rising food and fuel costs, has forced families and workers into these vehicles, turning RV living from a lifestyle choice into a last resort. City ordinances and tow notices now threaten even this fragile safety net, while local ministries like Roadside Refuge step in to fill critical gaps. Yet, no comprehensive data exists on the long-term impact of enforcement actions or the number of families on the brink. As experts warn that RV living may become the new normal for thousands, the evidence points to a regional crisis shaped by escalating costs and limited affordable options. For North Texans, the line between adventure and survival has never been clearer or more precarious.